To drop a product or not, you need to consider these following questions here. First of all, the most important one, the assumption is that in order to sell the product, you have to have a positive contribution margin first. Without this, just like special order considerations, without capacity, there's nothing more to discuss on. So without a positive contribution margin, you can't even cover variable costs, let alone covering fixed costs, then you don't have to discuss this anymore. It's definitely dropping the product. So some cases, if you're able to set the price at, let's say, $20 earlier, but nowadays the economy is not as well, or the demand for this product is just not as much, the product went obsolete, then perhaps the sales revenue you're generating is not covering any production costs that you're producing the product. Okay, so the first question, if it's a no, then definitely you should drop this product line. It doesn't worth it to spend the cost on producing it anymore. Second, we take a look at fixed costs, whether these fixed costs are still there after you drop the product or not. If the fixed cost is still there, it relates to some of the machines that you purchase also for other products, then these are irrelevant information for this particular decision. Because regardless of having a product, not having a product, you still have to spend the cost on these machines for other products. And this is not something we need to consider in this particular decision making. But if some portion of the fixed cost is particularly just related to this product, some of the machines or tools that you purchase specifically for this product, once you drop it, those costs also disappears, and this is something you also need to consider. So what is the cost saving you're able to make after dropping this compared against what's the revenue that you're not making from dropping this product? So if the cost saving is a lot higher than the revenue you're not making, then definitely the answer is drop the product. If the cost saving is still lower than the revenue that you're giving up, then you still have to keep the product. Okay, so first question is whether there's a positive contribution margin or not. If it's negative, then drop the product. Second, in terms of fixed costs, so there's certain fixed costs that can also be avoided after you drop the product. When you drop it, these are the techniques that you no longer use anymore. You can drop the cost of depreciating these fixed assets. So these are some of the costs you need to consider. Consider the costs that you can save. Now, after dropping the product, perhaps if the fixed cost is the same, you have some free capacity, free machine hours to produce other products. These are also some of the costs that you need to consider. Perhaps you have additional profit that you can generate from using that idle machine hours. So all of these factor together, you consider all these three main questions together to see at the end, what is the cost that you're saving, what's the revenue that you're not getting, weigh them and see which one is higher. Cost saving is more, then you should drop the product. Cost saving is still less, then you keep the product. Okay, so it's not just about the operating income at the end, because some of the fixed costs you may be able to avoid, some of the fixed costs will be there regardless of you have this product or not. So really you need to consider is the contribution margin, whether you're getting it or not, and what portion of fixed costs that will still remain, which portion you can avoid. Compare all of them together. Okay, so main decisions here. After knowing that you have contribution margin, then evaluate cost saving and the revenue that you're giving up.